Hey guys, so today let's talk about how to get referrals for your monthly bookkeeping services. So basically, a summary of what we're going to cover in this video is number one, how to go get referrals from your clients. Number two, we're going to talk about direct versus indirect referrals, how to go out to get referrals, how to go in to get referrals. The three main factors are going to be impacting how many referrals you get, as well as tactics and word scripts as to how to get people to want to refer to you. We're also going to be putting in a bonus which talks about how to get referrals from different partnerships and the time frames with which you should expect to receive referrals, as well as making sure you understand like what are the different types of referrals and how what like are the facts that impact it. So who am I and why could this video potentially be helpful for you? So currently I run a six-figure accounting and bookkeeping business, which I started in 2015. And then since 2019, I've helped close to 300 people inside our mentorship program start and grow their business. Now, also, if you want some help growing your income so you can reach your goals without having to make the different like mistakes and go through the different struggles that I did, to grow mine, go ahead and click on the link inside the description either above or below the video to book a call to see if we can help you inside our mentorship program. So let's jump into this thing. So referrals from clients. So I'm kind of breaking this video down to like referrals from clients, then referrals from like partnerships. So within referrals from clients, there are direct versus indirect referrals. Now I'm going to make one tweak. Boom. I'm actually going to put this thing in present mode, so I can't make any more edits. But number one, oops, whatever, we will have to do it just like this. So number one, okay, direct versus indirect. So direct is basically when you're going straight to a client and it's like the person is going to be directly referring the person to you. It's like it's very traditional, very much what most people kind of think of when they think of referrals. Now, indirect is more of when you utilize the reputation of your clients to be able to go and get referrals. So let's first touch on direct referrals. So number one, inbound referrals. So inbound means the referrals are coming to you. So let's actually, I'm going to talk about a phrase that one of our students in the mentorship program used. His name is Usman. Now, he's actually a master at generating referrals. I've never seen someone who can, generate as many referrals with as few clients would he have when he first got started. So that's also another reason why it's like good to be in a community like ours, right? Because it's like it's not just my experience, right? It's my experience, but it's also the experience of like 290 other accountants and bookkeepers where I've been able to document the different process, what's worked, what hasn't worked, what's the time frame when things work, what are the different like things they've used. And I've learned so much from this journey of like not just working with my firm, but also helping other people. So that's why like joining a mentorship program makes the most sense because you're just getting essentially it's like most people start one firm or maybe they start a firm, they fail, they go back, they start a second firm, right? If you have your firm plus you had 300 other people's firms and you get to watch them start to finish, like how they're able to grow it, you'd be light years ahead. And that's basically what you're getting when you join like our mentorship program. Now let's kind of go. So the first word track he uses is at the end of every meeting he does with the person. Also, excuse me for the light. I know the light is kind of messed up. I have this overhead light because like super rainy outside. I'm in the room that I'm doing it from. So at the end of every single client call he does, he goes, "Would you give me a testimonial today based on my performance?" And then if the person says no, he asks like why not? And he treats it like almost like he's improving like a software, like yeah, like a software service, right? Where it's like, okay, so here's like one complaint. Okay, so let's put that support ticket. Let's fix this. 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 And he makes it as perfect as he possibly can. Right. Whereas most people, what happens if someone says they wouldn't leave a testimonial or a review? Most people, including myself in the past, we kind of feel very irritated or very like upset, right? Because you kind of take it as like a personal reflection, right? But instead, you need to start taking it more of just like just feedback, just stuff you can improve on. Because if you just get all the kinks out of your system, you're gonna pretty much have a perfect system over time. Let me see if this makes things work. Nope, makes things just as bad. Because I'm the person I need to be like focus on me. Whatever. So let's say they say yes. Then he basically asks, like, who do you know who could potentially be a good fit for my services? Now, potentially is the key word in this whole thing, right? Because it makes it easier for the person to answer. Now, potentially, what that does is it gives it into the realm of possibility. They don't feel like they have to give you a client, right? That can actually be a lot of pressure if you are talking to someone and they have to go and give you someone that's instantaneously looking for, because they're not just gonna tell you someone that's like potentially looking for it. They're gonna try and figure like someone who's like expressed interest, who says they're willing to pay, and they're gonna basically try and like get you a client based on that. And that's really hard for a lot of people, especially if they're not used to giving referrals. They just don't do things the same way you do, right? So instead, you ask, who do you know that could potentially be a good fit for my service? I'm not asking you necessarily to give me a referral. I'm asking you to give me an idea so that I can then start going and running with that idea. Then based on that, if you do get someone and they say, hey, I know Bobby Joe down from XYZ place, right? What I like to do is on social media, whether it's LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, whatever, wherever the person's most active, you create a three-person conversation, basically a mini group conversation between your client, you, and the potential referral. Now, when I do this three-way conversation, I give my client a script of like all I do is just like copy and paste exactly what I say, just makes an introduction of who I am and how I can help. And it takes whenever you're trying to get someone to do something, you want to like make it as like little effort on their end as possible. Like you don't want the person who's going to give you the referral to have to think of what does the script to say. Yeah, and then the next part of the phrase is generally going to be about number one, as soon as someone leaves you a review or testimonial, you want to go and ask them if they know of anyone who could use your service. Now, the key phrasing is who do you know versus do you know anyone that's looking for this, or do you have anyone who's looking for this? Kind of like we talked about earlier when it comes like the potentially, these slight differences in phrasings make it easier for them to produce a list of people that could potentially be in market for your service versus force them to kind of like understand and decide, go through all their conversations and remember things to see like if the person is going. So I like having it as an open-ended question, right? Versus like, do you know anyone? It's like a yes or no question. Now, currently, what we're doing is we're actually be working on a video that talks about onboarding clients, and it's going to show you how to go and get more reviews, more testimonials a little bit quickly. And if you can implement that inside of your onboarding process, you're naturally going to be able to start getting more referrals because you're going to be the reviews and testimonials. And as soon as you get the review or testimonial, then you use these word tracks to be able to get them to want to give you referrals. Next is going to be direct outbound referrals. So that basically means that the referrals are going directly from client to client, but they're going out. So basically, you're utilizing your different skill sets and like different things we're going to talk about in a second to be able to go and actually create referrals for yourself. So your ability to go and get referrals comes down to three main factors. Now, number one is client selection. Number two is going to be communication of milestones. Number three is going to be relationship with the client. So let's touch on client selection first. So for client selection, right? You can go after clients that tend to give you more referrals. So just kind of breaking this down, there are certain types of clients that work with business owners as their clients. So for example, financial advisors, consultants, barbers, hair salon stylists. Let me even scroll down, IT consultants, business coaches, barbers, etc. Right. And like inside of our course, we give you an extensive list of these different types of clients so you don't have to like figure it out for yourself. Because like every single person's gonna have a slightly different mix of like who's gonna be like the best type of partner, best type of client for them. And this is like the one case where I do think that like having a niche kind of like makes sense. I'm not saying that all of your clients have to be from a niche, but I'm just saying it's easier if you kind of get clients around these types of niches that generally have like a bunch of different types of clients that they work with in order to stay in business. It does make it a lot easier to do it. Next, you can start identifying industries that are more likely to refer. So look at the types of industries where they're used to getting referrals. So like barbers are not a bad one. Like they're probably not like the highest like monthly dollar amount you're gonna get unless you get like the whole entire like barber shop owner, right? But they're used to getting referrals. Like someone tells another person, tells another person, tells another person, tells another person. So they don't have any problem or any hesitancy doing referrals because it's like normal to them. It's breathing. Versus there might be some industries where everything is kind of like cutthroat. They don't really have a lot of friends in business and they don't really feel good about referring because they're just not used to it. They just think it's just different, right? So you have to like look at who is like already has that built inside of their business DNA. Next are going to be number two, communicating milestones as a client goes through the process of working with you. So this, when a client works with you, it should be very, very, very systemized. I don't know why my camera keeps like blurring like that, but whatever, we'll figure it out eventually. So the client's going to go through the process of working with you. Now, this should be very, very systemized. Now, every client should get very similar touch points. And this is easiest to do if you write down every single step that an average client will have to go through over their journey of working with you for your average duration of time or lifetime value of the client. So let's say you have 7 clients who have been with you for different time periods. You take the number of months that each client has been with you and divide it by 7, right? So let's say that you have 7 clients that each stay with you for about 12 months. So you take 12 times 7 divided by 7, right? You just get the average. So then you plot all of the communication milestones over the average time period. In this example, like we'll say 12 months, and you just like plot them all. So you just go through your CRM, you go through your different and we'll talk about different like ways to track conversation stuff in a minute. But you go through that and then you start putting it either like on a sheet of paper or a digital pad, or if you have like a writing tablet, you do that, but you put them all in a timeline and you start seeing like where are the overlapping communication questions, concerns, different milestones, different projects that are completed, different wins that you kind of have with them, and just start noticing those similarities that the clients went through. For example, let's say that you're doing a cleanup project. This is just something most people can understand if you're an accountant or bookkeeper. Cleanup project is basically when a client is behind on their books, or maybe they've done their books incorrectly. They need to go back to a period of time to be able to go get it up to current. Okay, so let's say like some common milestones are number one, completing the onboarding call. It means you guys did your onboarding call, person's fully onboarded. You have access to all like the software, the logins, documentation that you actually need to start. Okay, that's another milestone. Next is like the cleanup is actually started. So you actually got to work on it. That's a milestone. Next, 25% of the cleanup is complete. Okay, next is 50% of the information completed. You can also base them on other services you offer as well. So, like, for example, for tax returns, it can be the return is completed. So the return is started. For tax plan, it's like the plan is complete. Okay, you've hit this milestone. Okay, you've done this, you've done this, you've done this. It's just different points you can actually like say that every client is going to go through in order to have success with working with you. You just like build into your process because that's a touch point that you can go and utilize to number one, show that hey, it's a win. Number two, you're showing you're making positive traction. And number three, being able to actually go and do things a lot more cleanly and a lot easier. Next is going to be great client relationships. So client relationships serve a number of different purposes. So most people think that you just do a good job with clients so they can like stay with you for a long time, right? And client relationships are not just about the longevity of the client. Your relationship will also determine the numbers of referrals you get from the client. So to talk about like how to build a good relationship, I'm just going to give you some different things that you can kind of do. So number one, consistent cadence. Oops. I did not finish this thought in my notes. It's questions, thoughts, concerns. Thoughts and concerns, right? Just like we were talking about earlier in the video, you're utilizing that to be able to constantly fix the things that people do not like about your program or do not like about working with you. And the more of these questions, thoughts, and concerns you get, the more that you're improving and the more that the future experience for your either existing clients or your new clients is going to be. And then pretty soon you have a really, really airtight type of system, airtight process, and it just feels amazing. Next is sending statements each month. Okay. So 1 sec. Then also what you can do is inside of the footer of those statements, put, hey, please send referrals inside the CTA. You can even do a call to action, even like send them to like a page on your website that has a video of you explaining like why they should be doing referrals, how they should do referrals, et cetera, et cetera. Now, I like sending the statements each month, just kind of letting them know how much they paid and how much will come out of their account each month. You can make these statements like pretty easy inside of QuickBooks. They have a lot of tutorials on how to make how to make statements in QuickBooks. So I'm not going to go into super detail. Um, yeah. Next are like holidays and birthdays. So wish them a happy birthday, wish them a happy holidays, making sure you're checking on their family, like knowing everything about their life outside of business is going to be key. Next thing is going to be industry events. So let's say like something happens, like there's a new change in the legal side of the construction industry. That's pretty cool to kind of like talk about this. Hey, how's this been affecting you? Are you guys aware of this? Are you guys actually adjusting to this? Next are company newsletters. So newsletters. So breaking that down, every month you should be sending like a monthly newsletter that should tell people like what are the new things that are kind of going on inside your company. So these should actually work in a slightly different cadence than what your statements are. So I like having my statements go out about the 15th. I like having my newsletters go out on the 30th or the 31st, whatever's the last day of the month. Now I learned about these because with one of my financial advisors that I use, they started giving us like these like client newsletters, like actually physical newsletters I really liked it. So like our students, you have to send it physical if we give you that template, or you can send it like virtual through email. Both work really well. It's just more about like staying top of mind, but then also having like having instances, phrases, and things that kind of prompt people to want to, number one, like you a little bit more, number two, be able to start sending you referrals, or even three, if you send it physically, they can give it to other business owners who are like their friends and stuff. Next, significant news events, stories. Ideally, you want to do something that's like positive, but you can check in about like safety, like if there's like a natural disaster, or there's a lot of stuff going on in the world. But I like to keep things positive. If it's something like negative, like you can talk about it, but just I like being remembered as like a positive person, just a little bit easier. Next, having that communications cadence. I feel this is a typo, or not typo, but duplicate. We already talked about that. Next, text about 1 to 3 times per week. That's really depends on the personality of the client. If you have a client where it's like they just don't want to talk, just don't do that. But if you have like one where they're very touchy feely, then just like having that kind of like 1 to 3 kind of like cadence, and we can talk about cadences in different videos, but just like those touch points can be very important. Next are keeping extremely, extremely detailed notes for every interaction that you have. Now, you're generally going to want to use a note taker app to summarize meetings, consultation calls, sales calls, and notes inside of your CRM. So I currently use one that's called Fathom. I believe, like just kind of looking at Zoom and just like the bottom panel, it looks like Zoom is actually having a new AI note taker that's being developed for while you're on Zoom calls. I haven't fully dived into it, so I'm not an expert at that. But it's something I just noticed like the other day, and even now I'm recording this using Zoom. And it just knowing every single thing, right? Because you're talking about a lot of stuff. Let's say even if it's a 30-minute or 15-minute meeting, you've talked about a lot of stuff. And if you have like one of these a week over the span of a year, you have 52 of these different meetings. You need to be able to take notes, summarize notes, be able to have like a file on these people and know different things about them, so you can constantly be able to like touch on these different points of their life to see how things are going. So, and I keep these inside of my CRM. So a CRM just basically customer relationship manager or management tool. Now, this is slightly different than the practice management software. CRM is more for like before the person becomes a client. I kind of like using it for even if they're after a client to a certain degree, especially if you have like upsells, cross sells, or if you have someone that is going to be like managing your social media accounts and you need to like have them know like, hey, this person is inside of our program, or they're inside of our service or whatever, right? So you need to be able to kind of know that. Both are good. Practice management software can do a lot of stuff that a CRM can do. A CRM cannot do the same stuff that a practice management software can do. So it just really depends on you, your budget, and where you are kind of in your journey. Some good practice management software would be one that I like is Financial Sense. That's a pretty good one. Keeper is another one, et cetera, et cetera. I think I should do a video on those in the future, but I just haven't done that on this channel specifically. So next, let's talk about indirect inbound referrals from clients. So indirect means that basically you're not getting the leads directly from the clients. So the clients are not just directly like referring their friends, but they are still coming to you. So we can talk about that. So two main ways you can do this are networking events and speaking events. So networking event, what's networking? A lot of different versions of networking. When I'm saying networking events in this particular case is like you have a client. This client says, hey, a group of us business owners are going to be meeting at like a Sweetwater's or a Starbucks or wherever they're going to be meeting. You should come. Okay, that is the best type of networking, right? The challenge that people have when it comes to networking is they try and go where number one, they don't know anyone. Number two, they don't know the quality of the individuals inside of the room. So if you go to like a networking event, it's just like people are just getting started in the business. Like you're not gonna be able to charge them like 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 a month. Like they don't even they're not even making $1,000 a month, right? You know what I mean? So it's like if you have a client that's already paying you a high ticket fee and they're putting you in there, birds of a feather flock together. You're not going to have like a super high level multi-million-dollar business owner in the same meeting with like someone that's just getting started, unless like the person who's making $1 million is the one throwing the event. You know what I mean? So it's like you gotta really understand like what it is, like who is inside of the room, what caused our students to get it. It's like number one, you have to know who's in the room. So for example, one of our students, John R, it's like he gets a lot of his clients from like church, mastermind groups. So for example, he's in real estate. So every time that he gets money from like his business, he likes to put it inside of real estate. So he joined a number of like different like real estate masterminds and different things to kind of like learn about the industry of like real estate. And at a lot of these things, he's around these guys that are doing huge, huge, huge dollars. And they just invite him to, come talk to them inside like the private like conferences, etc. They want to work with them. And it's just really easy for him to go and get like clients like that. Or even like his church, right? So like whenever they do like brother or sister church events, a lot of his clients have come from his like they're not like the same church campus. They're like for example, let's say you're like at a church that's like 5 locations. Whenever like the locations come together and like you get people from different kinds of area, different economic backgrounds, and you have a lot of like socioeconomic kind of like intermixing, that's when it's a lot easier to start getting clients from like church. Like if you go to a church, like maybe like a really small church, there's not like a lot of people that have like money or business, it can be hard. But if you go to like a church where there's like multiple branches, you're bound to be able to go and like get a much wider range of people from different walks of life, backgrounds, and things that you can actually utilize to grow your business. Um, the other thing is like Tammy, for example, she got a huge company from a networking event. Now this is like indirect, inbound leads. So the client ended up paying her $6,000 a month and then $40,000 worth of cleanup. And like for these massive companies, you're generally going to need an introduction in a lot of cases. So she found a connection in a networking event. So one of her clients invited her to come to like a local networking meeting, right? Inside of that, her client actually introduced her to a lady that referred her to make a client, right? So that's how you do it. You got to know, like, you have to have the in, right? When you have the in, you start getting into better quality conversations because a lot of cases, like, the more that someone has to lose, the less they're just going to like just accept a random person. So they're looking for someone to like refer them. The next one is going to be like speaking events. So this is actually one of the most powerful methods. I kind of buried this into this video because I know most people, won't really have, for lack of better words, the attention span to make it this far in the video. So it keeps the number of people doing this relatively low. So if you've made it this far, you have a tactical advantage over your would-be competitors. But I mean, if they can't, sit through like a 30-minute video, are they really your competitors? Just saying. So next, JT, one of our students. So a client owned a networking community with key players inside of his niche. So he organized a meeting with a certain percentage of the overall community, and he presented for about 20 minutes. He got 3 high-ticket clients. So in that first speech, he got a 9K per year client. Then he got a 12K per year client. Then he got a $17,000 per year client with a cleanup project that paid about $7,000 before he started on doing like the monthly work. So altogether, from a 20-minute presentation, he made over $45,000 over the next 12 months. That's like the highest leverage activity you can possibly do. And then basically what he does nowadays is that he basically schedules these meetings with that person like once a quarter, and he knows he gets a certain amount of clients. So it's amazing when you really get this stuff to work, man. Like it's if I had this when I first got started, like, oh my gosh, man, that would be so much easier. Would have saved me a lot of stress. Now, next thing is outbound referrals. So cloning clients using referrals. So we actually made an extensive video walking you through how to clone existing clients to get referrals. So basically, it's using your existing client list and then finding other potential clients by going through their extended social media network, then using your client's reputation to create lukewarm introductions. Now, if you want me to send you a copy of the video, type in client cloning inside the comments below, wherever you're watching. So if you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, wherever, just write client cloning. Either myself or one of my virtual assistants will be sure to send it to you when we get a chance. This video. Yeah, so yeah, because it's gonna be too long video. I think like probably like 40-minute video, 50-minute video if I kind of go into these different things. So we're gonna wrap this here. We're gonna make this part one. We're gonna make part two about how to go and get referrals from partnerships. Now, if you want some help growing your business or your income so you can live life with freedom and live life on your own terms without having to go through like the different struggles that cause most people to fail, click the link either above or below the video to book a call with myself or my team member to see if I can help you. Now, some people do wait to do this and like they end up just running out of steam. Like most people think that, they're just gonna like be able to kind of like run the business indefinitely. But if you're not finding success and things are not working out, most people they just kind of give up, right? If you want to be one of the select few that actually succeeds in business, you need to get the skill sets, the trainings, and the tactics to be able to go and beat, all of your competition and make sure you actually do reach your goal before you kind of, run out of emotional bank account or emotional steam. So if this is you, go ahead and click on the link inside the description, book a call, and see if we can help you out. Also, if money is really tight, like we do have different payment partners that can help get you funded, so you get your foot in the door of the program, just to get started and get off to the races without having to really like worry about things. So if that's you, like, we never want money to be the reason why people don't get started with the program. So we do have like these different like third-party funding options, some of which are 0% APR, so there's like no interest to you or anything like that. And same as cash, just allows you to split it up anywhere between like 3 months to about like 12 months, depending on which partner you are approved for. So if you want to see if we can help you out, if you want to see if it's going to be a good fit to work together, go ahead and click on the link inside the description. Book a call with myself and my team members, see if we can help you. I'll talk to you soon. Have a great rest of your day.